Hello and welcome to CNET's 2023 general election coverage. I'm Ann Danahy, and today we're profiling candidates in the race for Bellefonte Borough Council. Joining us now is Joanne Tosti Vasey, a Democratic candidate in the race for Ward 3 or the West Ward. Joanne, thank you for coming in to talk with us.
Thank you and welcome for inviting me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for re-election?
Well, I'm a resident of the borough since 1980, so I guess I can consider myself a long-term resident by now. I've been a community organizer for many years, and for the last 8 years, I have, excuse me, I have served on council, sometimes, usually as a council member, part-time as a president pro temp, and then there was 4 years when I was president. Now I'm back to being a council member again. The reason I ran for the first time and I continue to run is because I believe in open and transparent government in which individuals can contact their council members, talk to them, tell them what their concerns are, for me to sort of like an information and referral service, find where they can best get the answers to the questions, because council members can't always answer those questions. And when issues come up that there are people on both sides, I have always agreed to listen to what individuals want to say and hear them out. I cannot always guarantee that I will vote exactly the way a particular person wants me to, because there are people on all sides of the issue. But I do take every person's concerns into consideration when doing my votes. And when there are votes that come up that there has not been a chance for the community to weigh in, and I feel that the community would want to weigh in, I've often requested a tabling of the motion in order to give the public a chance to respond to the concerns. I believe that is one of the most important duties of a council member.
Are there particular issues that you would see as a priority if you were reelected?
There are basically three of them. The first one would be, just as I said, is making sure that council members communicate with the public. That means residents, that means businesses, that means downtown business, Bellefonte Incorporated, it means the Bellefonte Inter-Valley Chamber of Commerce. When you have those communications, as well as communications with other levels of government, the state, the local, and other municipalities throughout the county, I believe you get a better feel of what would best help out the borough. I also believe that there are two major issues that we need to focus on in the borough. One is historic preservation. Bellefonte is a community in which people come to town to see our beautiful architecture. If we don't preserve that architecture, then we lose some of our economic viability. The other one is a more general economic, civic, and environmental sustainability. For example, we have electric charging stations in the borough, and we have them there not because I happen to own an electric vehicle, because I can charge my own, but because it brings people to the community. As more and more people consider purchasing either a hybrid plug-in electric or a full battery electric vehicle, has a need for them to be able to charge their cars. Having them in the downtown area helps our businesses, our restaurants, because they can park in the parking lot, plug their car in, go eat, go shop, and we make funds to help our community.
In August, the Borough Council voted to suspend the Climate Action Plan and its Environmental Advisory Board. Where do you stand on that?
I was one of the 4 people who voted against that suspension. With the Climate Action Plan and the EAB were passed in September of 2020. We started the EAB the following year, right in the middle of the pandemic. And then we've tried to make sure that it's almost at a no cost to the community. So in the past 3 years, we have spent $300. And that money was spent on a survey that came out in May. And in that survey, most of the community, residents and businesses, believe that it's important for everyone combined, as well as individuals and the local government, to do what they can to address our sustainability issues. Shutting down the Climate Action Plan stops the actions to help our community. In addition, shutting down the EAB, or the Environmental Advisory Board, which is made up of professionals throughout town and the county, including Planning Commission, Sustainability Office at the Penn State University, et cetera. We lost the opportunity for the borough to help educate the public on what they can voluntarily do to individually help sustain our community. Volunteer professionals on the EAB offered their expertise to plan the programs. Educational presenters were found who volunteered their time as well. The council said they liked the programming when they shut down the EAB, but set up a situation where no one could do the planning because the volunteers were no longer allowed to work, and they also mandated that the paid staff could not put any time into the sustainability. So with no planners, there is no action. That, combined with a refusal to pass a resolution supporting economic, civic, and environmental sustainability that is required for obtaining a sustainable PA certification, lost Bellefonte the opportunity to obtain additional points on all state-level grant applications. We had been working, 3 of us had been working on it for about 9 months. At that point, we were sure we would be able to get a gold level, which is the next to the top level certification, which would get enough points that when there's a close call, when we're competing against other communities, we could probably gotten the grant. Now that we can't do that, and Climate Action Plan is one of the points that helps get that certification. We've lost that ability, and I'm concerned that this could result in higher property taxes to our community when we don't get the state-level grants that we would otherwise have gotten.
If you are reelected, is there anything you would do on that front? Do you think that the borough can take other steps even without being part of that plan?
The sustainability thing, that is something we have no control over. The state, there's a...
In general, to have those goals in the Climate Action Plan.
I will keep pushing for whatever I can. Without a plan, you're kind of kludging things together in bits and pieces. By having a plan together where you have a board that overviews and makes recommendations to council how to move forward, I think is a better route instead of making a piecemeal. Systemic programming is better. There was some comment about maybe reconsidering it. They did not actually, they suspended it. They did not rescind it. So unless we can get another 2 or 3 members of council to say, let's go back and look at the plan again and maybe redesign it, we're going to be doing piecemeal.
And you mentioned historic preservation too as a priority. Are there particular steps or changes that you would like to see implemented?
Well, what I'm pleased to see happening right now is that we just received a grant before this sustainability program was put into place that is creating a, what do they call it? A design guidelines for historic preservation. The last time we did this was in 2010, and we just Tuesday reviewed the call for proposals and selected a company that will be confirmed by council this coming Monday evening for them to go ahead and update those guidelines so that members of the community who live in the historic districts know what's possible and what they need to tweak on their designs. The harm for those people who don't really understand, think that it's there to quash what you're doing. What they're there for is to help provide you with an idea of the materials and programs that help maintain you as the caretaker of your property for the future.
And one proposed project in Bellefonte is the band shelter that a community group has been organizing and raising funds to
Right.
build. Do you support that?
I support it in general. The one concern I have, and I think most members of council have, is that we want to make sure that it doesn't become a financial burden on the town. So we are currently working with the band shell committee. In fact, we're meeting with them on Monday night, the 16th of October, to discuss some of the points that we want to see happen before we sign the lease that they can move forward.
Another issue that comes up from time to time is parking and whether there's a need for more parking for downtown businesses and for people to find a place to park. What are your thoughts on that?
That is a never-ending issue. I don't think that no matter how many parking spaces we have, that people will not be happy. One of the things that I think might help is to do better education on our long-term parking. A lot of people in town believe that the red marked parking spaces mean no parking. The red was chosen when we took out the parking meters, because they were red parking meters. And it just means that you can park there for a longer period of time with either a daily permit or a monthly permit. And it's as easy as making a phone call to the borough to make those places. The other thing that I think helps is understanding that although State College has garages, we've looked into it. It's so prohibitively expensive maintenance-wise that Bellefonte Borough does not have the funds to put in a garage. We periodically look at it and try to improve our parking spaces. And I understand that whenever the waterfront property garage goes, well, there will be a garage there. There will be parking spaces that the public can use beyond just hotel users. So that will be coming eventually. The other thing that I think might help is something that I've been advocating since long before I got on council, is that once the hotel goes up, that we create a trolley system in Bellefonte, so that if you can't find parking right in front of the store that you want to go to, you could park elsewhere, and you could pick up the trolley and circulate throughout town. That would include the Willowbank Building for government services, the hotel, the downtown area, and that would not only help people who are driving can't find a parking space close by, but it'll also help those who are visitors come to town on a bus, say, or elsewhere, who have mobility issues and can't walk our hills.
Joanne, we have less than a minute left. Is there anything else you'd like to say to voters?
Yeah. I think if you want an open and accessible local government representative, if you want a council member who listens to the public and works with local businesses, DBI, and the Chamber of Commerce, if you want a council member who wants to work with other governments and organizations locally and throughout the state, and if you care about prioritizing historic preservation and economic and environmental sustainability, I'm your candidate. If you've gotten your absentee ballot, fill it out, send it in. If you haven't, Election Day is November 7th. Get out and vote. Thank you.
Joanne Tosti Vasey, thank you so much for coming in to talk with us.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Joanne Tosti Vasey, a Democratic candidate running for Bellefonte Borough Council, Ward 3, or the West Ward. All candidates on the ballot were invited to join us on CNET. I'm Ann Danahy. Thank you for watching, and please remember to vote in the election November 7th.